Welcome to Bikini Bottom at the bottom of the ocean, where every day the stars.
So, is Plankton the Movie actually good? With the recent track records of the SpongeBob movies and shows, you'd probably think it wouldn't be very good at all. But this movie might be an exception. For those who don't know, Plankton the Movie is a spin off film set in the SpongeBob franchise. The movie centers on none other than Plankton himself. After countless of failed attempts to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula and ignoring his wife Karen's advice on what to do, Karen ends up taking matters into her own hands. She ends up causing chaos everywhere she goes with her plan to take over the world. And now Plankton has to team up with SpongeBob to stop Karen before she destroys all of Bikini Bottom and the rest of the world. Let me tell you, Karen is a pretty threatening villain when she gets going. Once she's on the warpath, there's nothing stopping her. Now, is the movie good? Well, I'd say that's debatable, depending on the person. Overall, I think it's actually pretty decent. I somewhat enjoyed this movie. Granted, for me, it's nowhere close to the first SpongeBob movie, but I'd say it's more positive than not. Probably the third best SpongeBob movie, in my opinion, and leagues above the Sandy Cheeks movie. The movie gives both Plankton and Karen some pretty good backstory, showing their relationship from when Plankton first created Karen to them spending their lives together. Plankton eventually realizes that Karen means a lot more to him than he ever acknowledged. You don't necessarily sympathize with Plankton, but you do feel for Karen. However, you can see Plankton trying to be better than he was at the beginning of the movie. And that's the goal of the story. Overall, it does a satisfactory job of tackling the story centered on Plankton. The animation looks good for 3D, I'd say. I've never been too keen on SpongeBob being in 3D, but I think it's just because I'm more used to the show being in 2D. That said, the animation is still very expressive and fluid, and it fits well with the circumstances for the movie. They even include some 2D segments at certain points in the movie, and those look pretty fantastic. There's even a dash of live action thrown in. One thing I can say about this movie is that you can definitely tell they tried a lot. A big factor might be the fact that Plankton's voice actor, Mr. Lawrence, worked on the story and was a screenwriter for this project. Having played this character for so long and written for the show for years, I'm sure this movie felt especially dear to him compared to other things he's worked on. I will say in this movie, SpongeBob himself might have been the least useful character in the movie. Even though he drives the plot forward little by little, it feels like with each movie he becomes more and more insignificant. I mean, it makes sense since this is supposed to be a side character's movie and not his, but I feel like he could have done more. That said, they did a decent amount with the other characters like Sandy, Mrs. Puff, and even Pearl. They show Karen hanging out with them during her off time, and they end up helping Plankton on his journey to better himself. All in all, it's a decent enough movie if you're curious about it. It's got some fun moments, some interesting backstory, and a few songs that are alright. Nothing to write home about though, but they're serviceable. There are also some nods to older SpongeBob material, including a small reference to the first movie, which I appreciated. It's a solid enough movie to watch if you're looking for more SpongeBob content. Of all the modern SpongeBob movies right now, this is definitely the best so far. I'm not exactly looking forward to the next one, but hey, there's always hope it could be great. What did you think of this movie? Did you like it? What do you think of these modern SpongeBob movies so far? Let me know.